All right, so I'm here with Jennifer Marabella, and so what exactly do you do for a living?
So I'm a social worker. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I work at an agency that does community support for individuals living with severe mental illness diagnoses. Um, the work that I do is outreach. I visit people in their homes. Um, the people who I support, my clients, typically have they are adults, usually in their 30s or 40s, sometimes older, sometimes younger, and they have had an episode of a severe mental illness in their life that has pretty much disrupted their trajectory for several years. They might have been in the hospital several times. They may be living in a group home with staff support. So I work with individuals like that.
All right. So how much roughly do you make in a year?
I make about 55,000 a year.
55,000. All right. So what kind of challenges has the virus proposed for you? Like, how has it made everything more difficult?
It has completely upended our work. Um, my clients are people who are 90% of my clients are receiving disability benefits from the government, which means that people on average are earning about $12,000 to $14,000 a year. Is below poverty level.
Yeah.
They have no money for anything extra. They need support and accompaniment with so many things in their lives: food shopping, socializing, interview practice for a job, finding a job, etc. And everything that my clients need and rely on in the community has been upended. Um, People are living in apartments isolated from other people. They can't drive to the supermarket and stock up.
Yeah.
And they can't get to work because if they work, the transportation options are not there for them, or it isn't safe for them. And I can't go and see my clients face to face. It's not just because I'm afraid about getting sick, but if I get sick and I don't know that I'm symptomatic and I'm seeing 15 people over the course of a week, I could infect the most vulnerable people in our population, and I can't do that. So as an
Yeah.
agency, I know that was a long answer, but as an agency, we've stopped face-to-face appointments with our clients who live in their own apartment or with their families. We do have some clients who live in staffed group homes. And my coworkers, who that's their primary job, are still going to work there. But basically, I am on the phone with people, trying to support them and help them manage their anxiety or whatever's going on in their life, over the phone.
All right. So do you know anyone in your job who has been specifically affected? Like the number one person who's had to deal with this?
One of my coworkers, you mean, or one
Yeah,
of my
one of your
clients?
coworkers.
Well, I have a couple of stories. My agency, it's a social services agency, and on an ordinary day, there are a lot of people at Riverside that have many different jobs, and all of them are vital. But at a time like this, where our revenues are down, you have to lay some people off. So I have a friend who worked on my team for several years. She's amazing at what she does, and she had just decided she wanted to do something new, and she went to work in our training department, which is a really important job. And she just got laid off from that. She was new at her job. I mean, probably like 2 months ago she made the change. Thankfully, because she still has the skills and the relationships with our clients, she's been able to come back and do per diem work. And my agency, even though they had to lay off a lot of administrative people, they're keeping them all on our health insurance, which I think is wonderful. So there's that person. I have some coworkers who live in Rhode Island, and Rhode Island has an advisory that they don't want people traveling back and forth from Massachusetts to Rhode Island. But my coworkers, my job is considered essential. I actually have a badge, this red badge that I'm supposed to carry around with my ID. So if I'm stopped while I'm out driving around, I can do that. So she's got to carry that with her while she goes to work. She finds that kind of stressful. I have coworkers who are parents. Their children are not in school. My children aren't either. Um, their children are not in school and they're younger than you guys. So my coworkers are trying to work from home with their kids in the background, which is a really hard thing to do when you're providing what ends up being therapy over the phone with vulnerable people. So it's just impacting everybody that I work with.
Yeah. Do you know anyone, like anyone who hasn't been affected? Like, basically everything has stayed the same for them.
Absolutely not. Everybody, right up and down the line, whether it's an administrative job, whether it's direct care. If it's somebody who doesn't have a family at home, if it's somebody who does. I mean, this is just unprecedented. And to have to maintain a physical distance from other human beings and to be working in the health and human services field, it's like the Venn diagram of that. There's no overlap.
Yeah.
I mean, the work I do is relationship and connection and being physically present. And we can't do that for safety reasons. So it's really upended everybody at my job. I can't think of someone that it hasn't affected.
All right. How do you think things will be once the virus passes over? Do you think everything can go back like the exact same way it was, or?
I think a lot of people are going to need to heal from this. I think, I work in the mental health field, so I know how situations like this really take a toll on people's mental well-being. This is a huge stress we're all under, and I think we'll actually be feeling the aftershocks of that for some time. I can tell you that a lot of folks I support who really do have the intelligence and would have the skills to be able to connect and use technology more to connect, like Zoom phone calls or online meetings or whatever, haven't been able to do that right now because nobody showed them how to do it with their smartphone right now. Or actually, a lot of them can't even afford a smartphone, which is unbelievable. But I mean, about the amount of money they make on disability. So I know for me, when I'm working with my clients, I mean, I'm going to be like, this is how you would make a video call with someone in the future if we need to do this again. These are ways that you, on your very limited income, could still buy one or two extra things every time you go food shopping, so that over the course of 6 months you could store up an extra week's worth of food. So things like that will change. People, I think, will plan differently. I don't know. I mean, something this dramatic and almost catastrophic always has a significant change on society. I just don't know what that's going to look like.
Yeah. So after all that, do you have any closing thoughts that you'd like to say, or?
Geez, I don't know. I mean, about my work, or just about me, or this whole thing, or
Like the general picture of all this.
I think I appreciate having opportunities to do an interview like this with you, where you're doing some work for a class that gives me a chance to stop and be introspective for a minute, and also helps me see that just about everybody, even though we're under a lot of constraints right now, are still trying to move forward and live our lives and get things done. So that actually makes me feel better during what is a very stressful experience. So thanks for that.
All right, thanks for having us.
Great.
All right.